Hello everyone, welcome to Astro Reader PH and thanks for dropping by for some astrology. Last week may have been pretty restful and uncertain for us, but this week will be quite different. As we welcome the spring equinox, the sun enters the zero Aries point, which is a specially intense degree of the zodiac. It is symbolic of new beginnings and the extreme burst of energy that goes along with them. Aries is a strong, enterprising energy with a drive to start new things. This makes Aries impatient and rash as well. They want something new, to get something started, and they want it yesterday. So this week has lots of energy. In fact, we open up the week with strong Aries or Martian energy, with Mars, the ruler of Aries, as the apex of a T-square. So this week opens up with a bang, a huge influx of activity. So remember the fog of war that I've talked about in past videos? We will now begin to see this fog dissipate. Aries energy is quite direct. So with Russia and Ukraine, we will likely see a clearer picture of what's really going on from now on. And when it comes to their allies like the USA and China, we will see them step out from behind the scenes and make their threats and demands. So we may see the real alliances take form from now on, in terms of what they're prepared to do for each other. Before, during Pisces season, there was some confusion, passivity, and indirectness with how they dealt with things. Now they will be more transparent. Who will side with whom? With Aries energy forcing them to take a stand, neutrality may not be an option. Aries can also be quite aggressive. This can lead to things like temper flares. So in terms of the current world conflicts, we are likely to see more confrontational movements. An increase in violence is possible. Aries is a sign of war, so as usual, my concern will be that things get hotter and escalate. That is quite possible, as the coming months' transits aren't exactly peace-loving. But these energies aren't working solely in the worldwide arena, but also in our individual experiences. To borrow a principle from the Hermetica, as above, so below. This has many interpretations, but to me what this means is that what is occurring in the bigger scale is reflected in the smaller scale. Above refers to the point of view of the rulers, who see the nations from a bird's eye view, while below is the point of view of the ordinary man with boots on the ground. So in our own lives, our tempers may flare up as well. We could find some things to be angry about, and will be quite direct with how we feel about them, which can lead to conflicts. If we don't take control of our urges, we could find ourselves in a provoking mood, looking for fights. Remember to be patient and count to 10 before you do something you might regret. But we can also use this powerful energy to shake us out of our lethargy and get us to work on new projects. Aries energy thirsts for new horizons. After going through the deep, reflective, and conclusive Pisces energy, Aries wants to move forward and forget the past. Aries is also big on personal development. So if you feel like you haven't been giving yourself proper attention, this is the time to do it. You could use this time to work on yourself and your goals. Thankfully, the universe has once again provided us with a balancing effect, so things don't get too out of hand. The ruler of Aries, Mars, is currently inching closer and closer to Saturn, the ruler of delays and limitations. So whatever flare-ups Mars may want to express now, will have Saturn to contend with first. Saturn will attempt to pour cold water over the hotheads. It likes things slow and deliberate, which counteracts the Martian impulsivity. But the side effect here is that these conflicts may be extended. In such combinations of energy, it's not uncommon to see intense stalemates or standoffs. Don't get me wrong, even if nothing much happens on the outside, this tension will be felt strongly over the weeks to come. But rather than become an explosive energy, it is more likely to be a slow burn, smoldering energy. If you feel stress and fear in the coming days, let's try to keep calm even when things seem chaotic. The status quo may be a better option. Patience and consistency matters. This energy can indicate painstaking, draining work that takes time, but it can also bring stable results that withstand the test of time. The key thing here is to slowly increase momentum over time. Whenever we find Saturn, we think of the conservative and traditional approach. So with Mars conjunct Saturn, we could see more success for methods that are tried and tested. With warfare, slow and steady wins the race as well. So as I said in my other video, this could end up being a long, drawn-out supply war or war of attrition that brings other nations into the fray. It's quite unlikely to fizzle out overnight. And as I always say, the economy is in a fragile place right now. So try to make sure you have enough resources secured for the coming days. Depending on where you live, the economic issues may come from simple price increases to full-blown recessions or shortages. Try to focus more on having tangibles and necessary items like food and hard cash, and avoid buying too many things you don't need. This would also be a good time to take care of your health and well-being, so you will be more fit for any challenges that may come ahead. One thing to help clear the fog will be Mercury conjunct Jupiter and Neptune, roughly from the 21st to 23rd. Mercury is not exactly supportive to Jupiter and Neptune energy. It's a practical, here and now type of energy, while the latter are more concerned with the big picture. So I feel that Mercury will help clear the fog a little by giving us some details. Mercury will try to analyze the fog in a sense. We're already in a lot of confusion and mystique around these times, and Mercury will help give us the bits and pieces of the facts to figure out what exactly is going on. So when it comes to issues that need clarification, like Ukraine and the COVID crisis, there could be some important press releases around this period that can help enlighten us as to what's really going on. As I mentioned in my videos, Jupiter and Neptune are working together to overhaul our beliefs and reveal certain truths to us that can truly transform our worldviews. So when Mercury drops by and triggers this energy, Mercury can bring out some hard facts to bring about these disclosures. Things like data, statistics, documents, and pronouncements could come out that can change our opinions on certain matters. So what I'm saying here is that we could get some information around this time that can cause us some disillusionment. The news during this week can be revelatory in nature, perhaps shocking or mind-boggling at first, but in the big picture, enlightening. In times like this, it may be best to keep an open mind and try not to hold on too tightly to our established opinions. Anyway, as I say in my videos, all of these energies are ultimately working together to usher in a grand awakening in April, because April is going to be extremely eventful. Just to give you an overview of how big April can be, here's a quick summary of some of the powerhouse transits we'll be going through. There are so many, so I have to make a separate list for them, and I may add a few here and there as time goes on. First, the solar eclipse in Sagittarius of December 2021 will be reaching the end of its effective period. What this has done since December mostly had to do with transforming our truths. In the past months, it has allowed us to test our opinions and reevaluate our core beliefs. Naturally, this has caused some conflicts between groups of differing opinions, and that's part of the process that the world is going through in its search for a new truth. It is a process akin to the Hegelian dialectic, as I've discussed in my December video. While this is happening, by the way, Mercury in Aries is combust and will bring a lot of fiery discussions. There will be angry statements here and there, maybe some calls for more violence and war. Then, Mars conjoins with Saturn on the 5th of April. Saturn begins the limiting process and reins in the flare-ups of Mars. This reduces the destructive effect of the aggressions, but also extends the issues. This is in Aquarius, so the conflicts will be between collectives, groups, or networks. Saturn squares the nodal axis around the 11th. This brings economic questions to the table. We will come face to face with our broken economies and start collectively calling for relief. And as mentioned, Jupiter conjuncts Neptune on the 13th, which finally brings the revelations and disclosures I spoke about. On April 16, the full moon in Libra squares Pluto stationary direct, forming a T-square with Pluto as apex. This energy can bring some obsession, instability, and danger. It's about relationships, big and small, and how they can transform our lives. With Pluto in Capricorn strong, I feel that Russia and China will dominate around this time. And finally, these all lead to the solar eclipse in Taurus on April 30, which is the beginning of a new chapter, a new set of circumstances. How do we handle this new way of living? How do we regain the security that we have lost and find inner peace? How do we restore the economic stability? And how much do we really need to live? These are questions we'll start asking. So as you can see, April is a very colorful time. We will discuss this more as more events unfold in the weeks to come. And that's it. Thanks for watching the Astrology of the Week of March 21 to 27. Please like and subscribe for more astrology. Thanks. Goodbye.